Hi everybody, here we are again. Roy here, and session 3 of Raising Yoga Energy. And what we're looking at today is we're going to begin to center ourselves in the water element. And we're just going to activate the flow state. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap while we're here. Let's separate the feet 4 to 6 inches apart. Ever so slightly, put a little soft bend in the knee, a small little bend, and let's just begin to bring ourselves into our center of gravity. And we're going to begin to sway around the 4 corners of our feet. And as we sway around the 4 corners of our feet, trying to get a little creak on the floor here, trying to get away from the creak on the floor. As we sway around the 4 corners of our feet, it just brings us into our center and brings us into our center of gravity. There we go. Creak here. No creak. Okay. So now we're in our center of gravity. Okay, so now let's just do a quick recap. Last week what we were doing was we were centering ourselves in the earth element. So if you remember, we were doing the bounce. So again, you can do it along with me. It's that subtle bounce in the knee where we were planting the feet a little bit more firmly. And again, it's the emphasizing the knee forward, where when we emphasize the knee back, it gives us the root and it gives us the rise. We start to feel that our thighs tone more. It gives us that lift up through the body. So the root and the rise. So we're rooting down and rising up. And that gives us that integral tone in our body. So it gives us this stability. It gives us mobility. And then as we go more into it, it gives us flexibility. And that gives us adaptability in our space. So the more we get into the bounce, is we started to layer in the different elements, and you can see me. I'm bouncing through the flow. So remember, we're emphasizing the root, the earth element, like the drum, is we're emphasizing that earth element. So here I am in the flow of things, and then remember we went into the expansion and the contraction of things. We brought in the fire element, and we're bouncing in the earth, and we're creating space. Or we could do the shimmy. Flickering generate a lot of heat, but again, still very much in the earth. And then we went into the ether. No, we went into the air. We went into the lightness of things, and we're just gliding on the micro movements of the air, catching the earth element, and then just being really soft with ourselves in it. And then we went into the expansion of things. Is we came into that beautiful sense of spaciousness, and again we were floating in the earth element and moving into the space of the earth element. Okay, so that was last week. So this week what we're going to practice now is the flow state, and then begin to emphasize the flow state and layer all the other elements into it. Excuse me. Now, why are we doing this? If you remember before, we want to begin to activate the elements, the 5 elements: the earth, the water, the fire, the air, and the ether. So if you think about those elements in the environment we're in, so there's the environment of our bodies. This is the external environment. We've got our skin, and that meets the inner and outer environment. We've got the muscles, and the pressure and release within that allows us to feel our inner environment, and it allows us to press on our outer environment. Then we've got the structure of our bones that gives us a lot of stability, allows us to stand upright with the force of gravity, the rooting down and the rising up, and also it creates a lot of mobility in the body. The space between the joints allows us to be very, very adaptable with the ways we can move. It's very, very important. Yeah. Now within that, then we've got the fascia, the connective tissue, like the white of an orange. It keeps it all together. So when we do a lot of the bouncing and the springing, it's not just in the muscles and the joints. It's in the fascia, the connective tissue. Very much into that space. Yeah. Then equally, we've got the central nervous system, the brain, this brainstem, the central cord, all the nerve endings coming out, and then the tips of the nerves. So think about taking your central nervous system out of your body, and you'll see the shape of your body. So as we begin to move into all the elements, is what we're doing is we're playing all the strings of the body, the central nervous system. And the central nervous system intimately understands the elements because it's what it's made of. So there's the earth element, and there's that connection between the earthiness in ourselves and then the earth itself. And remember, the environment we live in is there's gravity draws us down, and then there's this natural rebound effect that comes up through us. It's more subtle. So there's a resting down through the bones, it's a lifting up through the muscles, and that creates a line of integrity within us, our alignment. And then there's our alignment and movement, the way the body moves in alignment. Okay, it's very, very important. It affects everything on the planet. So the atmosphere that we live in is directly related to the gravity of the rooting down and the lifting up, and the environment of the earth that's what we live in, also the environment of the body. So I'm trying to stress how the elements permeate all of our experience, and how to engage in those elements is elementally important. So there's the earth, there's the flow within the earth, there's the expansion and contraction of the earth, there's the support and the lightness of the earth, and then there's the spaciousness of the earth. So what we're doing is, while we center in one element, we layer the rest in, and there's nuances within that. Look, here's the earth, look, here's the flow in the earth. There are different qualities of energy and engagement within this environment, which is our body, the muscles, the joints, the fascia, is the central nervous system, and all the internal organs of the body. Okay, so really what we want to get into is the central nervous system. So the more we center ourselves in the elements, the more we're able to activate the elements consciously in our central nervous system, is we can begin to move in and activate the chakras. So our ability to raise energy is then we start to refine it more specifically to each chakra. So activating the elements is very, very important. Being able to layer the elements into each one it makes us far more dynamic in our ability to move and engage with energy. So if you think about this, anything you want to do, you need to create a ground. Anything you want to do in your life is in the rooms, the people, and the situations you want to actualize something in your life, is you have to have a ground to build it on. Now, if you bring it into your body, it's the action. You bring it into your breath, it's the energy you put into it. You bring it into your mind, it's the process of your mind and the intention within it. So that consciousness within your mind, that has a ground as much as anything else. So the more you understand the earth element, the more you're beginning to understand the ground, that all things have a ground. All things have that earth element connection. Okay. Now the nuances within that is that you can flow in the earth. Okay. Now that makes you far more. It makes the life force of your earth element much more fluid. You can live in the earth element when you're fluid in it. Imagine taking fluidity out of the earth element. Now you're rigid and you're all buckety on the earth element. But if you bring the flow into the earth element, look how much more engaging and full of life force that connection is. Now the ability to expand, think about, you want to actualize something, you've got to ground yourself into whatever your intention is. You've got to ground yourself into your actions. Then you have to flow in that intention, and you have to flow in those actions. So your ability to be grounded and fluid in any area of your life, in all areas of your life, is very, very powerful. These are core skills within us. Okay, part of our natural intelligence. Now think about, if you want something to grow, is you have to plant the seed, then you have to nurture it and let the energy flow. Then your ability to expand and open space for things to grow into is very, very important. So your ability to control fire is the heat is really, it's about expansion and contraction. Think about mastering space, is your ability to expand and open space and contract it. Whether it's in your breath, whether it's in your movements, whether it's in your ability to expand and contract in a thought, in a feeling, to walk into a room and expand your intention in that room, to expand your actions in that room for a specific goal, because you're looking to actualize? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you actually want to happen? Your ability to master the elements are the building blocks within yourself and outside of yourself that will bring that to fruition. Okay, so very powerful stuff. And again, you're activating your central nervous system. So expanding. Look, here I am with the earth, and I'm just rising and falling, peaking and falling. I'm able to expand and contract. And look, I'm also doing it with a flow, and I'm in the earth. So you can see how much more creative is our ability to move in space in the body, but energetically, mentally, in our actions, in our mind. It allows us to be far, far more flexible is when we can expand into spaces and contract. And to do it fluidly from a place of ground. And you can keep your intention going and be very, very adaptable in your actions. Okay, now imagine taking the ability to expand out of the equation. Now you can't expand anymore. So now you're grounded, you're fluid, but you're stuck in a tight spot. You want to move over there, but you can't because you can't expand. You're stuck in this spot. Okay, that's a problem. How do you get out of it? Well, you have to learn to expand, open up space. So you bring in that ability to expand. What about if you just had the ability to expand but not contract? So now you're grounded, you're flowing in it, and the space getting bigger and bigger, and it's expanding more and more. At some point you become ungrounded, that you can't stay grounded and you can't stay fluid because you're just floating in space. You've lost your ground because you're expanding out and you've lost your ability to contract. You understand? So now your ability to open things out and close things down are very, very important. It's a life skill that will layer into everything. From what you want to say, to what you want to do, to what you mean, to how you follow through in it, to your words, your actions, to how you interact with people. Can you keep that space open with that person? Can you expand space with that person? Can you find creative ways to let the ground move forward and then nurture it and flourish it, and then let the space open up? Okay, that's not working. Let's reduce the space there. Let's take the flow and change it over this way. Let's find another ground to move in, because their ability to master space and your ability to intend something and then to follow through is how creatively can you be in your ability to make it happen. Or are you going to be stuck in the rigidness of, I'm going to hold the ground I'm on. I'm not going to flow over there because I can't, and I don't know how to expand in the space over there. So therefore, that option isn't available. I can only flow like this. These are the only movements I can flow in. So imagine these are the only movements you can flow in. And I'm using physical representation as an example of your ability to feel like this. This is all I can feel. This is all I can think. When I walk into a room, these are the only actions that I have available to flow in. This is where my ground is. Don't ask me to come outside of this, because then I'll stop flowing because I don't know how. So what would happen if you allowed yourself to be fluid, okay? And let yourself move about in different ways is the potential, and the way you can express yourself and the options you find yourself having in your life in all areas is become far more adaptable. So you've got stability, you've got mobility, you've got flexibility. When you put all three together, you have adaptability, your ability to adapt. And really it's your ability to master space, put an intention in that space, and then to actualize that intention is create the environment that you want. And pretty much that's what's happening on the earth. It's just we've got the chance to do it at will, with awareness. We can be sentient about it, okay? So now air. The lightness of things. Think about the lightness of things. Is, let's say you're going to run a marathon and you had this beautiful lightness in you. The effort you were putting in, you just brought a beautiful lightness to it. Now you're going to run a marathon, but you don't have access to that lightness. So now you're stuck in the heaviness and you got to run the marathon. What would that be like? You get the difference? So now think about life as a marathon. Anything that you want to happen, you want it to actualize, is then when you make it happen, is you want to then maintain it, sustain it, to keep it going. So it can go for a life cycle, 2 life cycles, 3 life cycles. You can keep going for as long as you choose if you bring lightness into it. But if things get heavy, is you can only carry that load for so long. So our ability to master lightness and keep it grounded becomes very, very powerful in our ability to sustain things. If we lose our lightness, then the ground gets very heavy. We start collapsing in it. It gets much harder to flow. It gets much harder to open up space because I'm collapsing all the time because I don't have that lightness. So I'm collapsing into the weight of gravity drawing me down, where there's a rebound effect that comes up, that beautiful lightness, but we actually have to engage with it as we get older in life. So we don't lose that vitality. We don't lose that lightness of mind. We don't lose our ability to actualize and create space. Okay? I'll give you 101 ways to play that out, but you get the idea. And literally, ether, the space itself, our ability to just create space and then move into it. Life abhors a vacuum. So anytime space opens up, life flows in, energy flows in. So now look at the body. The body is a space. It occupies ether. It occupies a space. When this body goes, life will flow in again, and then multiple times over, every time birth happens, then a death happens, and then another birth happens, more life will flow in, and it just keeps going over and over and over. So the earth, that is me, will return to the earth that is there, the dust, and then that dust will return back to something again. Same with the water in me now, the same with the heat, same with the air, the ether itself, it just keeps turning over and over and over. So now our ability to actualize is our ability to be able to use the elements to bring things together. We see it all day long, every day in life. Is the floor you're standing on, somebody had to actualize that. The mat you're on, somebody had to actualize that. The video or the phone you're looking through, that had to be actualized. So everything has to be actualized, have the intention, and then to make that happen. We do it all day long. It's to do with the elements. So we have to learn how to master those elements to bring that together. Okay? So now that's the fun we're having here, is getting used to just getting right down to the very core of mastering the elements, grounding yourself in one, and then layering the rest in, because you become far more adaptable. That's the power of being able to raise your energy and then being incredibly creative with it. So think about how many positions your body can be in. It's an infinite amount of space. So your ability to move space in your body and open it is exactly the same skill as doing it energetically or mentally or in life itself. Okay, so now you get the gist, you get the idea of it. So what's the price to pay? There is a price to pay, and that price is inhibitions. You got to pay the inhibition price. You got to get rid of some inhibitions. And what I mean by that, you showed it earlier on. Okay, I want you to move, and then somebody starts just doing this. Okay, I want you to do something else, but this is all you keep doing. Okay, but now I want you to do this, but this is all you keep doing. Okay, let's flow, you keep doing this. Okay, let's get into the expansion, but you keep doing this. Again, I do workshops, and sometimes this is what happens, people. An hour later, they're still doing this. No matter what I say, they're still doing this. So at some point, we have to deal with the inhibitions. And very simply this is like a sheet. It's like wearing a set of clothes on. These are the movements that are like a set of clothes on. These are my comfy clothes. I'm really familiar with this. I'm really comfortable with this. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so now what if you did this? What if you did that? Just this. Look, just this. Just this movement here. I've never done that movement before. There you go. It's not a big movement. It's just a little movement, but it's something you've never done. You're moving into a little bit of space, a new bit of space. So it doesn't have to be crazy. It just has to be something that's a little bit different than you might normally do. That's all it is. So rather than just doing the restrictive, inhibited movement, where I'm just used to doing this, and this is all I'm going to do, is we've got to go look for movements, space in the body that we've never moved into before, or we're not used to. And we're going to do it at an elemental level. Okay? So now today we're going to focus on the flow. And we do the flow, and then we look at how to layer the other elements in. And then I'll do another video on the freestyle. I'll do the flow. The freestyle is a bit of fun. So join me on the freestyle. You know, it's like getting on the dance floor. Get on the dance floor and shake it out a little bit. But look, here's the flow. Just flowing. Like a pendulum. Like a pendulum. Now notice how I'm moving my arms and hands like a pendulum. If you look a little closer, you'll notice my whole body is moving like a pendulum. I'm shifting from foot to foot. That moment of pause, and then I transition. Moment of pause, and then I transition. Pause, transition. And look at the pace I'm moving at. You'll notice that I start off slow, I finish softly. I start off slow, I finish softly. And the trick to the flow state is start off slow and finish softly. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Once you start off slow and finish softly, that allows you to do the transitions. That moment of pause, when you then change transition. Moment of pause, and you change transition. Doesn't matter what way you do it, any part of your body can move in the flow state. And it's the transition and away. Start off slow, finish softly. That's the trick to it. And as you get into that flow, notice now how grounding it is. Look at the pace that I'm moving at. If I just start focusing a little bit more and swaying around the four corners of my feet, it grounds me, centers me, connects me into my body, and I'm in the flow of that connection. Now, what I'm amplifying today, what I'm bringing forward is the flow. So now you see I'm doing it with my hips. I'm just moving around my body. And while I'm in the flow state, I'm grounding myself into it. So look, I'm not going too fast. I'm not going too slow. I'm just feeling the physicalness of my body. I'm engaging with the tones of my body and then the releases of it, the willingness for my body to feel the tone and the release. I'm consciously in the physical engagement of my body. Doesn't matter what I do, I'm constantly in the flow and the release. Start off slow, finish softly, constantly in that physicalness of it, the earthedness of the flow. So no matter where I move, I'm constantly feeling the tone and the flow. Now you might say that, Roy, that looks like you're grounded and you're in the flow state. I am, but today I'm focusing first on the flow and the tone. So I'm bringing the flow forward as an emphasis, and then I'm flowing in that earth connection. Okay, so it's the emphasis. It's like this. See, if I bounce on my knees, I'm in the earth and I'm emphasizing the down motion. See, and I bounce back into my knee. I'm still pressing down, but now I'm emphasizing the up as well, the lift. I feel that rise up through. So I'm rooting and rising. So I'm still in the earth, but I'm changing the emphasis within that. Okay, now look, I'm still in the earth, but now I'm in the flow and I'm in the earth. I'm emphasizing the earth. Okay, now I'm in the flow. I'm still in the flow, but look, I'm still in the earth. You can still see I'm in the earth, but look how I emphasize the flow more. Okay, so that's the subtle difference. So flowing and then earth. Still in the earth, but I'm making a flow of it. And now what I'm doing, look, I'm moving into a bigger space of expansion. Woo. And I'm just playing around with the big. I'm playing around with the small. And I'm just I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just having a bit of fun. All I'm doing is now, Roy, just move into expansion and contraction. Into peaks and I'm into troughs. Still in the flow. I'm still grounded. But now I'm in the the bigness of the movements. And look, I can play around with the bigness of things. I could step out a little bit more. Now, if I started moving into more formal postures, I'm still in those energies. Woohoo! I'm still in those energies. Does that make sense? Just playing around with different shapes. Moving into expansion. So keep playing around with it. Okay. Now watch this. Okay, look, I'm still in the big movements, but now watch when I bring in the micro movements. When I bring in the micro movements, now I'm bringing in the lightness. Still in the flow, still in the ground, still in the bigness of things, but notice how the quality of effort I'm putting in, I'm now bringing in the air. Just moving in the lightness of things. Okay. Now if I wanted to speed it up, I'd go a little faster, but I'm still in that lightness. You just play around with it, just moving in the lightness. And it's great to play a bit of music because every piece of music that's played is it's a mix of the elements. It's a mix of the elements. You get a lovely sound that's a ground, it's a flowing ground. Look, you can be down here just having a bit of fun with it. And you get these mid-range drums. Look, I'm still flowing and I'm playing around with it. And you have these big sounds up here. They're all just different aspects of the different elements. And then the playing of them together. And the more you get into the music and the more you're able to make every sound and be all the sounds of the music, at one point, you just absorb into the music. And as you absorb into the music, you just go into the oneness of it. You come into that beautiful spaciousness of it. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's how you would eventually trance, that you're trancing into the music. And again, it doesn't have to be electric dance music. I know I like my electric dance music. I do. But there's loads of different types of music. And you'll see as we go along how the range of music plays differently. At the moment, it's just with the elements and bringing the energy up. Now, when we start doing the earth element, it'll be much more about the rooting. Where the sacral will be about the life force, whereas the solar plexus, it's about the power. But when we're in the heart, there's a different music. In the wisdom, different music. Perception, different music, third eye. When we're playing in the crown, it's all about the freedom. So you get different frequencies of music, and then the play of the elements allows you to draw your energy and consciousness up through the different chakras. So you'll notice how the range of music that will be played will change as we go along. But right now is with the different aspects, you want to get into a bit of music. Like the first one I did was just a bit of bounce. Where the next piece of music, there'll be more flow in it. Still be a bounce, all the elements will be played, but it's getting into the flow and moving into the spaciousness of it. We're still in the flow, but now it's the spaciousness of the flow, the openness of the flow, okay? The lightness of the flow, the expansion and the contraction. If you wanted to generate more heat, it's the shaking. Look, I'm still in the flow, but now I'm shaking, like a flickering like a flame. Like flickering like a flame. Look, I'm still flowing, but I'm flickering. This generates a lot of heat very fast, brings the energy up very, very fast. So you could use the heat, get the energy right up. But again, we will be doing that. But for now, we're just getting familiar with the different elements, exploring the earth and all the rest in it. Here's the flow and all the rest in it. Next session will be about the fire, and then grounding ourselves in the fire, flowing in the fire, expanding and contracting in the fire, being light in the fire, just being spacious. But for now, it's a gentle flow. What I want you to do is just let your hands gently sway by your side. Allow yourself to just come back into your center of gravity, nice and easy. Just allow your eyes to close. And then nice and easy, begin to breathe a little bit slower, just a small amount. And what I want you to do is connect into the breath itself. Feel the flow of your breath. And as you feel the flow of your breath, think about the tone of your lungs. Your lungs are a pair of muscles. And what I want you to do is just breathe the tone of your lungs and connect into the earth element of your lungs. Just breathe them. And then allow yourself to feel the tone of your body through your lungs. And just allow your lungs to match the tone in your body. And then feel that lovely tone in your feet. And as you're in your feet, let yourself sway in that tone of your feet. I'm trying to get away from the creaks on the floor. I'll stand over here for now. There's no creaks here. So as you feel the tone in your lungs and you're flowing in it, connecting in it, then find the natural tone in your body, the general flow of it, and then the tone in your feet. And what I want you to do is breathe the tone in your feet so that your lungs are mirroring the tone in your feet. And think about you bringing your awareness and your energy all the way down to your feet. Now put that same tone in your hands. And allow that same tone to flow through your arms. Now think about your tailbone, base of your spine. You got your tailbone. Think about the top of your skull. And then imagine there's a magnet on both. One at the tailbone, one at the top of the skull. And those magnets are gently drawing away from each other. So you get that lovely elongation of your spine. And then all that extra tone that you feel there, allow yourself to breathe that extra tone. All you're doing is just coming into the ground of your body and opening up the space within the ground of your body. And I want you to breathe it. Gorgeous. And then flow in that space and flow in the ground of that space. And feel that lovely pressure and release and how it keeps expanding and contracting that space. Through your legs, through your arms, through your torso, through the space in your lungs, and just feeling the heat of your body. And breathing it. And you're just opening up the space between your vertebrae and just breathing your central nervous system. Those beautiful sensations of pressure and release. And just allowing yourself to be in the lightness of that space. As the space opens up, and energy flows in, and as energy flows in, it flows to the bottom and rises up. And as you feel that energy rise in that space, just allow yourself to be lifted by that lovely release. Rooting down in that subtle tone of rising, moving all the way through your body. And just let yourself flow and surf in the lightness and in the spaciousness of your body. Absolutely beautiful. Again, as you're going through your day, I want you to begin to do micro practices. So ground yourself, find your feet, ground yourself in your sit bones. Ground yourselves on the counters. When you put your hands on the counters, lean in a little bit and feel the ground of your hands. I want you to then begin to sway around the four corners of your feet. I want you to sway around your sit bones. I want you to sway around the planting of your hands. You can also do it when you're doing your regular yoga practice. You can do all this in your regular yoga practice too. But micro movements as you go through your day as well. I want you to feel that lovely grounding and then the sway of your center of gravity, the flow of your center of gravity. And as you feel the pressure and release, that's the fire, the expansion and contraction. And then let yourself move in that really lightly. Just feel the spaciousness that it gives you in your body, whether it's through your legs, through your sit bones, through your hands. It's always going to come into the trunk of your body. And just feel that trunk breathe and feel your spine breathe. Slowly over time, we begin to breathe our central nervous system. Just bringing those elements more and more into your body with awareness. feeling the pressures and the engagement of the skin, muscles, the joints, the fascia. More and more we open up the space, your central nervous system. And we begin to move energy consciously. And be willing to let go of some ambitions, which basically means is think about it as a hobby, finding new spaces in your body, new movements that you've never found before. And they are not a million miles away. They are right beside you. Small little things. And you go, I've never moved like that before. Simple little things with the hands, the arms, the legs, the head, the shoulders, the rib cage, the spine, the trunk. They're just small little combinations of movements that, they're right in front of you. Just happenstance, you never found them, you never moved into them, but now you find yourself going, oh, there's something I've never done. Finding different ways to feel the earth, different ways to feel the flow, different ways to feel expansion and contraction, different ways to feel lightness, different ways to feel your space. We're just grounding into this earth element and this idea, this experience of raising energy. It's a life skill. We're just establishing the foundations. And nice and gently in your own time, if your eyes are not already open, let your eyes open. Just bring your hands together. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Freestyle, join me in the freestyle.